Welcome to another edition of the REPMO Football Show. David Brazeal alongside Coach Ryan Cornelsen, and coming off of a great win at Webb City, 27-21 was the final. As I think back to that game, it was just kind of a weird game. I felt like the guys played well on 95% of the snaps, and then made a few mistakes, and every mistake was pretty costly and turned out to be a closer game maybe than the stats would indicate.
Yeah, it was just that. Offensively, we at times we move the ball really well, and then we have a big mistake, or we have a bad play or a penalty. Defense, we'd hold our ground. We'd get them to third down, fourth down. We'd either have another penalty or we'd give up the big long run. And it really came down to some missed tackles there that allowed for the big runs. And so, we really did it the hard way. We made it tough. Our first down plays weren't always real good, and put us behind the chain some. And like I said after the game, I was really proud of you're down 14-0 on the road to Webb City. Yeah. That's not an easy task, and so to stay the course and to keep believing in what we're doing is going to eventually work. And they did that and found ways. Going through the second half to put us in contention to win, and then found a way to win a game. And at Webb City, it's not easy to do that.
When you got down 14-0, what was that mood, atmosphere like over on the sideline with the guys?
Yeah, our kids understand, I think by now that we try not to focus on the score. We try to focus on the next play. And so obviously there's a little bit more, attention to detail when you're down 14-0. What's going on? What why is this happening? But not panic. Our kids, they made the corrections just like we would do if we were up 14-0. And so, you try to make the corrections. You figure out what they're doing. All right, now we have a better, idea of what plays are going to work, what plays we want to run. Let's get to those plays, and let's put a drive together. Let's, defensively, let's figure out what, why, if it's just a missed tackle, there's not a lot you can do. We got to make the tackle, So some of that it wasn't necessarily the plan. It was just a missed tackle. Now I will say we did have a little different approach to long yardage, down in distance, and it got us. We switched into a different front. They ran the ball, and they got us. They hit us on a good play there. So, but all in all, very proud of them. Like I said, that's tough to do, and they found a way to do it.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights. We'll start with they got the ball first, and defense came out and I think gave up a first down on this drive, but right off the bat, you could tell they were locked in.
Yeah. We had a good fit. Everybody knew their job and did their job. And against an offense like Webb, it's tough. It's like playing us. Like, everybody's got to be accountable for a certain job, and you can see that. If you watch the series, you can tell, like, right there, who had quarterback, who had pitch, who they blocked Keiran, and so the next guy has to get to the pitch. Again, here with Govan, it's a big play. Obviously, he read his key and was able to get to the pitch really fast. But to get that, everybody has to do their job. It's not just the guy that makes the big play.
And the first big mistake of the night was here. That was a tough play because the ball was on the ground briefly, and they ended up running into the kicker.
It is. It's really tough. The ball hits the ground. You see that, then you got a blocker on you, and all of a sudden he's standing there, and no one went ahead and tried to make a tackle. And it was a penalty, and was a big penalty. Obviously, then they were able to put the ball in the end zone on us.
You were able to move the ball on them and got into their territory, but turned it over when you got down there at the beginning, and one was on this throw.
Yeah, and some of those, when it's down a distance and we're going to take a shot, we're going to throw it, and if they pick it, so be it.
Yeah.
And there you saw we missed 2 tackles on that long run. We had it fit the way it was supposed to be fit. And we just missed a tackle, and that's part of it. It happens. You got to fight the next down and not let it happen again. Here, it was really well blocked. It was the kind of stuff where we were wanting to go, but the backside did a really good job of scooping and allowed him to cut back. And he, when he sees that cutback lane, he's usually pretty good at finding it. And he cut back and Preston had a big run there.
And that was big. They'd just gone up 14-0, and the very next play makes it back to a one-score.
Yes, that's huge. To come back and to bounce back. Now you got a little momentum back. You're starting to believe again and getting some energy back. And obviously Preston had a big night. We went to his number a lot. And you know, there's a good read. You can tell when he reads it right, and they come crashing down. He's pretty good at pulling that thing and taking off.
Yeah, this was the first drive of the second half, and just more of kind of what you want to do on offense.
Yeah, and if you look, we call it grubbing. They're basically cutting our offensive linemen, and we get that from time to time. Teams will do that. That's why you see so many guys on the ground. You see for the first time you saw our running backs trying to jump.
Mm-hmm.
That's because what they were doing, and it's a good sign because that means they don't feel like they can match up. They feel like they got to cut you. But we also got to recognize it and make sure we're running plays that work against that, and two, that we don't waste two guys on one and get both of them cut. So we made those adjustments as once we saw that was going to be a big part of their plan, and it helped to, get the offense to move.
So they went down and scored on the touchdown, barely got it to the pylon. I'm not sure if he was actually in on that play, but they were pretty close, probably would have gotten it anyway. So they have an 8-point lead at this point. Again, no panic.
No panic. And here Preston makes honestly, I forgot we even had Jen out in a route. He knew he was out there and threw it. Now we had a lineman downfield, but they thought he was scrambling. So those things happen, So now you're down the chains. You're not really ahead of the chains, and we're down by 8 points, and so final ways right here to make the offense work. We haven't really ran the triple much all the way through the pitch, and it was a big play for us there. Again, just running our stuff, just our base offense, and all of a sudden you see that line of scrimmage start to move like we talked about in the second half. And once that happens, you feel like you got a pretty good chance to move the ball consistently. Pelfrey makes a nice play there, run the trap. It was blocked. I don't even think anybody got a hand on him. So he made a nice sidestep and broke, and so.
Right, you needed two here. Talk to me about that play.
Yeah, so these are the ones that I don't really even. Sometimes we go for it, 2-yard or a 2-point conversion. Sometimes it's a short yardage play. Coach Ewell works that on the other side of the field when I'm on defense. So you're as surprised as I am when they come. So that's obviously we ran that before. I think a couple years ago, but so those are always exciting. And when we bring them out, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. So that was an exciting play there. The big stop, that was huge to get a stop on 4th and 1, and I think it was Nolan and I'm not sure.
I think Mason. I didn't catch it on the broadcast. I went back and saw. It came in from the backside.
There's a couple guys that came flying downhill and made the play. There again, getting to the triple, getting to the pitch, and just moving the ball. They even knocked the official over on our way to trying to get to the end zone. So you can tell this drive here, there was a sense of urgency. You can tell like we're playing hard, and we know it's right there. We got a shot, and now we got to figure out how to play that way each and every snap, because that was a drive I thought, man, we can play like that every play. We got a chance. So.
And the defense needed one more stop and got it. They just really pinned their ears back and came after him.
Yeah, they brought in. That's probably the biggest play of the game right there, to see the screen, because we were bailing, we were playing coverage, so we were way short in the box. So we had 5 against about 7 guys there, and for those 2 guys to play the screen was huge. They're obviously on 4th down, get the sack, get him down. To go on and win the game. And anytime your defense, played so much on, they're on the field a lot, and so they have that opportunity to be out on the field the last drive and to be the heroes, get the stop is always pretty cool.
So that's a look back. We're going to take another look back and look at the numbers from last week after this on the REPMO Football Show.
This is Vanessa at Beauty and Wellness Co. At Beauty and Wellness, we are all about REPMO spirit. And we're also about helping you optimize your internal wellness and enhance your external beauty. Whether you're looking to age gracefully or just looking for a boost of energy to help you refuel and recover, we are the place to go. Visit our spot at Highway 174 and Main Street. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Beauty Plus Wellness CO, or call us at 417-590-8200.
Go Tigers!
Welcome back to the REPMO Football Show. Before we go on, I want to thank Mark at Whataburger for providing drinks throughout the season on the show, and for Whataburger for being a good supporter of Republic Tiger Sports. I want to take a look at the stats from last week's game, and you mentioned, and we don't keep time of possession, but you mentioned after the game, I'm pretty sure we lost time of possession. You actually did run slightly more plays than them, but I mean, compared to usual, it
Right.
probably felt like you lost that.
It did feel like, and I don't know. I didn't look at the time of possession either. As far as the stat goes, I can just usually in my
Yeah.
feel it when it's
Yeah.
not what it normally is, and they're the same style as we are, and so that's part of their game plan as well. And so they did a good job of keeping the ball, especially when we have penalties that extend drives and allow them to stay on the field. And so, that having more plays is good. I don't know what the time of possession was, but that's obviously when you're playing a team like Webb, every drive is critical because there's so few of them.
You mentioned the penalties, 75 yards in penalties. So, I mean, to turn the ball over 3 times, 75 yards in penalties, including one that gave them that extra possession at the beginning of the game. That's an impressive night to be able to overcome that.
Yeah, and that's we don't want to have to do that,
Yeah.
but it's nice if you do have a night where you have penalties and turnovers that you still find ways to win, and that's not easy to do. It's not, I was really proud of our kids for figuring out a way to get that done, and then you got to clean those up. We can't turn the ball over. We can't continue to have penalties, especially they were penalties in just critical situations. We had them in long yardage situations, or we had them on 4th down and gave those penalties that. So you look at 75 yards. Obviously, that's too much, but it was really when they occurred that was the big issue.
Yeah.
So.
And then just one other thing that pops out at me on the team totals is we were talking, when's the last time 2 state-ranked Class 5 teams had a game and had 5 passing yards between them? You were both committed to the run. You were both having some success on the run.
For sure, and really, like I said, we've got to continue to develop that part of it. We threw more passes.
Yeah.
We didn't protect very well, and honestly, it wasn't. Sometimes it's not even our linemen; it's our backside of the backfield who they have picked up, and so we got some scramble situations. We threw the one ball when we were way behind the chains, and I don't know if it was 3rd or 4th down, but it was going to be punt if we don't. So those we take a shot, and
Right.
so that pick to me is. It is what it is.
Just like a punt.
Right? Yeah, it's just like a punt. So, we got to do a better job. Obviously, that's not enough. We got to stay ahead of the chain so we can throw when we want to throw and not when we have to throw, and just execute a little bit better than what we did.
I was going to say, 243 yards for Preston and 3 touchdowns, and then Owen had 57 yards, and Caleb Norman and Nolan Lashley with 8 tackles each. So just another all-around good performance, although Preston was obviously the guy who stood out.
Yeah, and really, the offense, you've kind of seen it this year play out the way that it not necessarily supposed to, but the way it often happens is one night we have this back is having a big night. We go to him a lot. The next night, and really you look at what they're trying to take away. Obviously, they try to take away the fullback because that was such a big, the week before or 0-1 2 weeks ago. So you just watch what they're trying to take away, and then try to go to the hot hand and where they're short. This week was Preston, and he took his opportunity there when he knew it's going to be his number a lot. Our kids can feel it. They know what's weak and where they're not probably either lined up right or where we feel like we can attack. And so he turned it up and had a great night.
All right. We've got Keiran Govan and Blake Luna coming up on the REPMO Football Show after this timeout.
Looking for your next ride? Come see us at Pinnaker Chevrolet in Republic. Not only do we have a great selection of new Chevrolets on the lot, we've got a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all makes, all models, ready to drive home today. Need to sell or trade? We're buying cars, trucks, and SUVs, and we'll give you top dollar, no strings attached. Fair deals with local people you can trust. Let our family take care of yours at Pinnaker Chevrolet in Republic or online at pinnakerchevrolet.com.
Welcome back to the REPMO Football Show. David Brazeal along with Keiran Govan after a big win at Webb City. And tell me defensively about what the game plan coming into that game was, and just you guys were flying all over the place.
Oh yeah. All week, everybody gets one guy, and you got to execute your plan. You get a plan, and you got to do it, and that's what Coach Cornelsen gives us every week. And as you can see, we play as a team. All 11 guys stick to their plan, and we go out there and we execute it just well enough to win the game.
So what was your plan?
My plan, I was taking away the pitch most of the game, and you can see that. I had a tackle for loss, a big tackle, and then I was also helping out our linebackers on a running back if he were to motion out. So I went out there and I had a big hit, flipped the guy. That was a pretty fun thing. But yeah, we took away a lot of their pitches, because if you go look and you watch games against Neosho or the Knicks, they're not taking away the pitch and they're picking up 30 yards, and those are their biggest plays. And we stopped that. We made them have to run something else to beat us, and clearly they couldn't beat us without that pitch.
So what's your favorite part of playing defense?
My favorite part, just flying around. Coach Cornelsen gives me the freedom to go around and make a lot of big plays, and that is just what you can ask for as being a safety. And it's better for colleges. Colleges look at me a lot, so with Coach Cornelsen putting me in my positions, he's also helping me for my future.
We talk a lot, and in past years we've talked about, well, if you got your safety making all the tackles, that's not really necessarily good for defense. But you, like you said, have the freedom to play up, and you do make a lot of stops, not as like a last-ditch effort, but as part of the defense. Is that something?
It's awesome. Like, you never know where I'll be. I can be a safety, but you might think I'm a linebacker, how close I am to the ball. Like, we're there to stop that run, and that's what we're going to do. And then at the same time, I can drop back into coverage and play the pass, or I may be a free guy, so go out there, stop the pass, help out a teammate. It's always awesome.
Is that a challenge to when you're playing up close to the line of scrimmage and then have to drop back and play in coverage?
At this point, like last year, I feel it was a challenge, because I've always been an offensive guy, but the guy, Coach Cornelsen, he knows what he's doing, and he put me at safety, and at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but he knows what he's talking about, and it was a weird thing last year, but this year I've come accustomed to it. It's a regular thing now.
So now, what do you enjoy more? You get to do both.
I get to do both, yes. Offense is always fun to go make a big play for our offense, because you never know. I get the ball thrown to me once a game, and that once a game could turn into the biggest play of the game. So that's always an awesome thing. But at the same time, on defense, we get to go out there and we get to stop teams, and we get the chance for our offense to go make big plays. So that's always awesome. So I think defense has definitely got to be my most favorite.
Okay. What do you think is the biggest strength of this defense as a unit?
It literally playing as a team. You can see on every tackle there are at least 6-7 guys just rallying to the ball every time. At least 6 or 7. And we all rally, and that's the best thing about our team. Like, nope, we're not going to have one single guy making a tackle unless it's a big play, which those don't happen a lot against our defense. As you can see, we don't let up a lot of points. And, it's just a big team effort. Yeah.
So you've got another tough one in Carthage, and then Neosho right after that, and then you're hitting the home stretch.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about over the next several weeks?
These next several weeks, it's a big challenge for us, and you'll see, because once we get in the playoffs, we're going to see the Carthage, we're going to see a Webb City. So no matter the outcome of any of these games, we are going to see these teams again. So we got to play as hard as we can, and we got to execute every week from now on, and we got to show that we are the top team around the COC.
All right, Keiran, good luck.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with Blake Luna after this on Republic Tiger Sports. Kirk's Collision Center in Republic has been helping neighbors get back on the road with more than 20 years of experience behind the work. They're OEM certified, so repairs meet factory standards. And their team handles everything from collision and glass work to paintless dent repair. Even if your insurance company suggests another shop, you can always choose Kirk's, and every repair comes with a lifetime warranty. Learn more at kirkscollisioncenter.com. Welcome back to the REPMO Football Show, joined by center Blake Luna. And nobody touches the ball before you on every play. What's that like?
It's a good feeling for sure. I mean, just being able to have that connection with Preston and stuff like that. But, you you just want to make sure snaps are always good, which sometimes they aren't. But you got to fix that,
Yeah.
But it's just a good feeling.
So, you were new to the line at the beginning, and when people think of the center, they think of the snaps, but there's a lot more responsibility that goes along with it. What was the learning curve like for you stepping up to the varsity level as a center?
It was definitely a lot, learning all the plays, stuff like that, because I've never played offense before. But I think Coach C and all the other coaches, and even the people next to me like Chance and Landon Harper and stuff like that, they all helped me out a lot with learning stuff and making sure I'm doing the right things. And even when I don't know, I ask them, they help me out.
Where do you think you've improved the most from the beginning of the season to now?
I'd say like making sure you get the snap and then blocking. I've improved. I think I improve every week with stuff like that. Just learning get to the linebacker quicker, get him down quicker, stuff like that. Just improving every week.
What is your responsibility as after you snap the ball? I know you don't do the same thing every play, but how would you summarize your responsibility?
With the way we pull a lot, you got to make sure you get the block. You got to block back, or else that guy will just run through the line, make the tackle for loss. And there's times I'll mess that up, but they're very adamant about just make sure you do your job, whatever it is, whether that's going to linebacker or even running a double team with somebody on the line. You got to make sure you do that.
You talk about the relationship with the quarterback and Preston, and
Man,
sometimes he's under the center, sometimes he's back. Talk about that relationship.
I love Preston. Snapping to him is just a lot of fun to do. He's a great guy. Gun sometimes I think it's a little more difficult for me because we're always under center. So, but adjusting to that sometimes I think I'm getting better. But just always something to work on with that. And then under center, practice a lot during the summer. Just always working on that every day. So I think that was good to begin with.
Yeah. You don't get to see kind of an overview of a play as it unfolds, so you're doing your responsibility, and sometimes one of the backs will break through. What's that like when you see that somebody's broken one and watching that happen?
Playing defense, you'll never get that feeling. that feeling of whenever you block a guy and then you see the running back cut it up and hit a seam and he just is gone. Like, there's no feeling like it. It's a really good feeling.
Yeah. So big atmosphere on Friday at Webb City.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about playing in that kind of atmosphere. It's not the first big atmosphere you've had this year, but that was a fun one.
Yeah. I think our motto kind of on the offense is we like away games. We like to go into your turf and we like to win.
Yeah.
I think that's always the goal. We like to win. We go out there, and I think it's, kind of speaks about us, how we want to go on your turf and we want to beat you there.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to the most as the season progresses here?
Just winning with our guys, winning as a team. I think our offense, we do a really good job of playing together as a unit. There's not a really whole lot of eye stuff on us.
Yeah.
I think we're a team, pretty good team. And I think we just work together. I think we'll get better, more cohesive as things go on.
All right.
And I think it'll get better.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this on the REPMO Football Show. Welcome back to the REPMO Football Show. Just about time to wrap things up, but before we do, we're going to talk about Friday night, Carthage on the roads, 2 tough road games, probably maybe besides Nixa, the 2 toughest places to play in the COC. And as always, Carthage is presenting a challenge to you, and you're going to have to be up to it.
Yeah, they just on film, they're definitely probably the front runner in our conference. They got a good football team. They're good at all areas, all phases. They're impressive on film. They got a lot of guys returning from a year ago. They got a great system, both offensively and defensively. They fit what we try to run defensively. Their fits are pretty good against what we try to do, and so we haven't had a lot of success against them. You look, they've had our number most years, and so trying to put a good plan together that our kids can play fast and execute. It's another big task. Just like last week, we got to be ready to. The margin of error is really small when you're playing a team that good, and so we got to be ready to play and play at an extremely high level.
Offensively, one challenge they often pose is that they're so multivarious on offense and give you a lot of different looks and try to do a lot of different things. Is that the case again?
Yeah, it's the same as it's been. Their quarterback this year throws a really good ball, so now they mix in more pass than what they probably have been the last 2 years. But their scheme is they can hit you with the jet sweep on the edge. Just when you think you got that covered, they're running the counter off of it, or the power, quarterback boot. They got all kinds of stuff that keep you balanced and really makes you. Everybody's got to be accountable for their job, and if one guy breaks down, they'll make you pay. And so, and again, they're big up front. They're good up front. They're tight ends. They got 2 tight ends that are both their defensive ends. I think one's committed to Oklahoma State, and those guys are really good players. So not just one side, but they got both sides. And so, they've got a really good football team, and it's going to be a big night for us, and we're excited for that opportunity. And again, we'll have to play, lights out and eliminate our penalties, eliminate our mistakes, and play a really high level of football.
All right. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for the REPMO Football Show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll have live coverage of Republic and Carthage starting around 6:40 on Friday night. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to the REPMO Football Show, and joined by Keiran, Govan, KG, and I don't know what I'm going to say to you. I just started talking, so we're stopping and starting over. All right. Okay. Well, I'll just ask you about the game. All right. Here we go again. That's going on the blooper reel at the end, I guess.